This is proportionality investigation, tables and graphs. So it says find the rate of change by putting the total change of total cost divided by your change in number of hours. And we have to do that all the way through the table to make sure that it's 100% accurate, 100% right. So if we go through and I see table 1 and I look at my change in cost, well, the first change from $30 to $75, I change it to by 45, and it's a positive 45. Then I keep going down the table. 75 to 120, it's a positive 45. To go from 120 to 165, it's a positive 45. This one here is a positive 45. Here, it's a 1, 1, 1, 1, because my total number of hours just goes up by 1 every single time. So my rate of change is 45 over 1. Over here, I start at 0. I go up 45 to go to 45. I go up again 45 to get 90. Then I go up 45 to get 135. Go up 45 to get up to 180. This goes up 1. This goes up 1. This goes up 1. This goes up 1. Now, my rate of change is 45 over 1. And that's going to be the same all the way throughout the table. So the real question says, which table shows a proportional relationship? So in order to do that, we use our ratios. 75 over 1, y over x. And set that equal to 120 over 2. Well, I need to know, are these proportional? Well, 75 divided by 1 is just 75. 120 divided by 2 is 60. Are these two the same number? Well, no. So this is not proportional. So if that's the case, that must mean table 2 has to be proportional. So if I look at it, 45 over 1, 90 over 2. Well, 45 divided by, well, if I cross multiply, sorry. 45 times 2 gives me 90. 1 times 90 is 90. So 90 equals 90. Well, if that's the case, table 2 is my proportional relationship. How do I know table 2 is proportional? Well, some factors of table 2. If you notice, 0 matches with 0. Well, over here, 0 doesn't match with 0, and that's the main difference. They both went up by 45 and over 1. They both have the same number of hours. And the difference between the tables is purely that this one started at 0 and this one started at 30. So I call it 0 matches 0. 0 matches with 0. So that means 0 is lined up right next to 0. Then we also have the rate of change, which is the change in hour cost divided by change in hours, is consistent. Consistent means that it's going up the same. So in order to determine proportionality from a table, 0, there's two things. 0 must match with 0. And my second thing is that the rate of change must be consistent. Now I want to find the constant of proportionality, the unit rate of that table. To find the unit rate of that table, you take our y divided by our x. I want to know how cost per hour. So I can take any of those y's, any of those x's. And so if I take 180 divided by 4, 180 divided by 4 gives me $45 per hour in that case. So my COP here is 45. To determine it from a table, you take a y divided by the x, or the change in y divided by the change in x. Go ahead and try these. Look at these. Number 4. Does 0 match with 0? Well, if I draw a line and arrow over, do they end up being in the same boxes? And the answer is yes. Then I look for my rate of change. Well, this goes down up 4. This continues up 4. This continues up 4. This continues up 4. The other side, this goes up 2. This goes up 2. This goes up 2. And then this also goes up 2. So since 0 matches with 0, x goes up the same amount as y goes up the same amount, that makes it proportional. And since it's proportional, I gotta find my COP. This is my y over my x. Now it could be the change or it could be a point. And so if I use the first point, it gives me a -8 divided by -4. Negative divided by negative gives me a positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Number 5. Does 0 match with 0? Well, no. So automatically I can say that this is non-proportional. And that 0 doesn't match with 0. Number 6. There's no 0 on this table. So we got to find our rate first. This, I'm subtracting 3 as I go down my y. X is going up by 1 every single time, which actually makes it easier. To find my 0, I have to go the other direction, which means I have to subtract 1. It gives me 0, which means I have to add 3, which gives me 0. 0 matches with 0, so it's proportional. My COP, I take a -15 divided by 5, because it really doesn't matter which point I use. And that gives me a -3. Number 7. Does 0 match with 0? Yes, it does. So far, so good. Now we find our constant of proportionality. -3 plus 0, well, that's adding 3. 0 to 3, that's also adding 3. 3 to 7, that's 4. 7 to 10, that's 3. So far, not looking so good right now. This is +1, +1, 1 to 2 is plus 1. 2 to 3 is plus 1. Oh man, that sucks because here I have this proportion 4 to 1, but everything else is 3 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 3 to 1. This proportion is off, so it's non-proportional because the rate of change is not consistent.